Good morning, adventurers. My name is Ben, and welcome to a morning show where I sit around, drink some tea, and talk about D&D. First up for T&D today, we have the Mug. Feels kind of appropriate for what we're doing today. I don't know, maybe not. But inside of it, we have my other D&T tea. This one is the whoops, sorry, dropped it. The Palace Elixir tea. It is billed on their packaging and on their website as an herbal tea, even though the first two ingredients are green tea and white tea. So it doesn't really seem that herbal to me. Not really the point. But it is a green tea, white tea blend with jasmine, blueberries, hibiscus. It's very good. It's like very light and stuff, and so it's actually kind of a really nice one to have in the morning, which is a good kind of thing. I do really enjoy this one. The two that I got feel very different sort of boxes. They check different boxes. There we go. This one is very much a morning tea, and the other one is very much an evening tea, which is exactly what they're built for. That's good. Now, before we get into what we were talking about today, I do want to apologize for this week, Monday and Wednesday, not having posted. My computer decided to just not for a while, and so it's finally fixed. At least I hope it's fixed. And hopefully I don't lose this video file too. I woke up Monday to upload, and the video file was corrupted. My computer had crashed. Everything was gone, and so I couldn't do anything with it. And then it wouldn't let me record for Wednesday. So it's letting me record right now. So that's a good start for this one here on Friday. But anyway, we're going to talk about what I talked about on Monday in the hopes that this one works and we can kind of move forward here. And it's kind of old news now, but I was catching up after the release of Journeys to the Radiant Citadel. We were talking about the D&D movie trailer. So it was released back at SDCC. So it sort of in order, it went Radiant Citadel. Immediately we had the Wonders of the Multiverse, Unearthed Arcana release, and this trailer came out at the same time. So I was trying to catch up on each of them by giving them each their own episode. But let's go ahead and let's talk about the trailer a little bit, shall we? First and foremost, there are mixed feelings about it on the internet, and I recognize that. I am somebody who's very excited about it. I am very, very into the whole concept, whole vibe that they're going for. In case anybody is wondering, I have seen the 2000 D&D movie. There are people who are upset that nobody saw that one, and it seems like to them that they are stealing the plot of that movie for this one, which I don't know if I totally agree with, but like maybe. It's been a little while since I've seen it, but I did see it. So in case that is a concern of yours, there you go with that one. But I am excited about this one for a few reasons. One of them is that D&D as a medium is not necessarily the most accessible medium to begin with, given that it is dozens of hardcover books that cost quite a bit of money, that take a very long time to read and learn how to do stuff with. And then the other way around that and trying to like figure out how things work is to watch all of these shows or listen to these podcasts, which are hours upon hours upon hours of content, and you're getting a weird sort of like skewed vision of what it looks like and what it could be, which is great. So that is helpful in that way, but it isn't sort of core D&D a lot of the time. The shows that do really well, with kind of the exception of early Critical Role, are ones that have really interesting and fun takes on the way that the D&D lore can work. So putting out a movie that is built seemingly on existing lore, existing to a degree. I mean, we see a bunch of really cool stuff in it that we'll talk about in a second here. But putting that out there into the public eye in a big box office setting is actually probably going to help quite a bit with the way that things are viewed with regard to the game by the masses, maybe. People who enjoyed, Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, that kind of thing, will probably jump on this and think that this is pretty cool, and then be more willing to give D&D a try. That's not to say that there aren't going to be people who look at it and go, well, that's exactly how D&D is supposed to work, and then be sad when it's not that way, or confused when it's not that way. But that is sort of the nature of putting it into any media format. I am interested in and excited by the fact that they are doing it in a sort of core fashion, in that we see some of the sort of staple D&D things in that trailer. So let's break it down a little bit here. Most specifically with a couple of the details that most people probably picked up on, and maybe a couple that we didn't, but things that really stuck out to me that I was very excited about, because I think it's a cool trailer. First and foremost, the monsters that they decide to show us in the trailer, I am so psyched about. I personally am unconcerned with the fact that the druid can turn into an owlbear. If you need to play it off as, oh, she's casting polymorph on herself instead, great, do that instead. But like, it's not important necessarily that is a major issue. It just really isn't. Because by the time that a druid by rules would be able to do that, they'd be super high level or circle of the moon anyway. So like, it just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that it's a monstrosity. But in terms of some classic monsters, we see an owlbear, obviously. We see a mimic, which is fantastic. I'm super excited about that. We get to see a black dragon spraying acid, which is awesome. We don't see ever in really any media dragons that do things other than fire and ice. And so the fact that we are getting to see an acid dragon in the trailer, I think is really, really awesome. In tandem with each other, we get to see also a gelatinous cube and a displacer beast. I am interested to see the way that they handle those things, because it looks kind of like the displacer beast is just kind of a panther, and it looks like the people are actively diving into the gelatinous cube for some reason. I'm sure we'll be told why, but they're in what appears to be some kind of a coliseum at that point, which is also really cool. And so just all of these monsters, these classic sort of D&D monsters that are there, are fascinating to me, and they're so cool to get to see animated on a, well, for now, smaller screen, but eventually big screen. Because, quite frankly, we haven't had good VFX of that yet, period. And so the fact that they're getting done is really, really cool to me. Also, the cast for this is fantastic. I don't know if you guys have seen any of the interviews for it, but the cast is playing up the fact that they don't really know Dungeons and Dragons all that well, which could be a lie. They could know it super well. But the press tours that they're on right now, they're all like, "Oh yeah, what's a dungeon or a dragon?" And it's been hysterical to get to watch. And so the fact that they are so seemingly disconnected, but so in it when they're on screen, makes me think that, one, they're lying in real life, and two, that they really do understand these characters and really are into it. And that's really, really cool, I think. So transitioning a little bit away from that, towards what appears to be the storyline, I think that there is no more classic D&D storyline. Well, that's not true. There's plenty of more classic D&D storylines. There is no more relatable, I guess, D&D storyline in my mind than the one where the heroes do a thing, and then the next step in their process is fixing all the stuff that they screwed up in doing that thing. So there's a line in the trailer talking about how they helped the wrong person steal the wrong thing, and now they're here to fix it. That is the summary of probably 50% of D&D campaigns in the world. Like, that is so common of just a thing that ends up happening in D&D, because adventurers are dumb a lot of the time. They just jump in, they go for it. When there's nothing wrong with that, it just then results in, well, now we have to go clean up our mess. And so I am psyched that they are addressing that as part of it, because that is, in fact, part of most D&D campaigns. To whatever small degree it might be, that happens a lot. And so I'm excited to get to see that as a storyline that's portrayed, because, again, if people leave the theater and go, that is how all D&D must be, they won't necessarily be right, but they won't necessarily be wrong either. And that is something that I am interested to see play out. Additionally, past that, I'm excited about the like feeling that you get from the trailer, because a lot of people are complaining that it feels very Marvel, which is fair, because Marvel has moved to, especially recently with all of the Guardians, Thor: Love and Thunder is the most recent release, being very 80s vibes. I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily, that the D&D trailer feels kind of 80s. Like, it is a smash cut smattering of a bunch of different scenes from the movie with Led Zeppelin playing in the background. That is honestly kind of the summary of how a lot of D&D campaigns either are or would like to be. Like, people want to feel like they are having that epic adventure kind of thing laid over this amazing backtrack. There aren't near as many as it would seem, from what I understand, in spite of the fact that this is the way that a lot of the shows that are popular go. There aren't that many that are the, like, long, epic journey of, like, The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, that kind of thing. Most of them are people, like, in their living rooms or in their basements, messing around, laughing, telling jokes, and being bad at planning, which is also one of the jokes that's laid out in the trailer. People are just, that is the way that they play the game a lot of the time, because that is the way that humans operate in unfamiliar situations. They get kind of uncomfortable, they make jokes, and then they keep rolling, because that's just how it goes. And so I am excited to see if they keep that sort of general vibe in the movie. I'm sure that they will have some of the Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones kind of elements in there, but I am personally hoping that they keep the pace up with sort of Marvel-esque, I guess, pacing, where things keep moving, because the reality is, as well, a lot of D&D is people sitting around a table and arguing, which they make a joke about that in the trailer too, where they talk about how the only way they're really going to be able to plan is over a drink at the tavern. So much time is spent in taverns planning what you're going to do. So the fact that they're addressing that in there as well, I'm hoping that, you know, we will circumvent a lot of those discussions because it's a movie and we won't have to sit and listen to people talk for like 4 hours. I am hoping that that is all going to be something that actually happens. The thing that I am not super psyched about in terms of it being a Dungeons and Dragons movie, from what we have seen so far, is the fact that it removes the actual game mechanics from the portrayal, I guess. Not in the sense that, like, the barbarian doesn't get to rage or the bard doesn't get to do the, like, that seems to be in there. But what I mean is, like, so much of D&D is rolling a d20 and seeing what happens. And so the fact that it is being put into movie format means that we don't get to see that as much. Unless they are making some crazy long play where the movie that we have seen so far in the trailer is actually just the actors acting out the game that they are sitting around a table and playing. And so we have like these weird sort of like fade out smash cut kind of things where it'll start at the table with like Hugh Grant doing his thing, and then Chris Pine will say, oh, I want to do this thing, and they sort of fade down into fantasy world where they play it out, and then you hear like the sound of a D20 like hitting the table and rolling. That would be a weird way to pace a movie, a really kind of weird concept to go with right now. I think it'd be fun. But so much of what makes D&D so exciting, to me at least, is the randomness of the dice rolls that go with it. And so removing the mechanics part of it is the only thing that I have an issue with. I, again, am very excited about the fact that we are going to get to see some of these core monsters, core settings, core stuff like that put into an actual D&D big screen event. I can't remember if I said it or not. We see the Underdark, which is really cool. That is like a classic kind of setting, and I'm excited to get to see their portrayal of that, because so much of it is built presumably with the Wizards team, and so it's little things like that I am excited about getting to see. And I just do wish that there was a way to work the mechanics in, even though I know it's a movie, and that's not really a super reasonable thing. So let me know if you're excited about the movie, because I know that I am. I've said it about 24 times in this short clip here, but let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you're looking forward to it. Let me know if you're going to go see it, whatever, because I am very excited about it. I'm already planning my time to go see it. So moving forward, we have our streams for today and this weekend. We have today Mayhem D&D, Off the Rails, Oxventure, Just Roll With It, The Strings of Fate, Rolling with Difficulty, The World of Low, The Crown DM, and Coming Together Naturally, which again I should be on shortly here. Tomorrow we have Dice Funk and Strange Hungers, and then Sunday we have Super Idols, Roll For Your Life, Grinning Griffin, Dungeon Drunks, Library of Nightmares, The Chaos Brigade, Rise of the Forsaken, Chromatic Dice, The Stridecast, High Rollers, and Tabletop Notch. Go check them out. Let them know that I sent you, because again, someday somebody's going to say something to me about it, and it's going to be funny. But fill your weekend with some D&D, some D&D streams, some D&D shows. They put a lot of effort in. You guys should definitely go and support them. But that is everything that I have to talk to you guys about today. So thank you so very much to my patrons. Hang on. Thank you so very much for making me part of your morning routine. I really do appreciate it. And thank you so much in particular to my patrons. There we go. For making this show possible. If you're interested in becoming a patron, check out the link in the episode description here. That's it, I think. That's everything I have to say. So, with all that said, don't forget, everybody. Drink tea, play D&D, and keep on rolling.